Yep. They should have drafted Creed Humphrey.
The ball out there. Let's blow him off the line of scrimmage. Hold on, Los Angeles.
Live from the RamCave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the March 7th, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. So the Rams offseason is off to an incredible start. And it just should not be overlooked what they got back in the move of Jonah Jackson. And it wasn't the 6th round pick, which that doesn't hurt. But the idea that you got 14 rocks back, this allowed the Rams to do, is going to allow the Rams to do a lot of creative stuff. And I think we saw the first one a day ago when they signed Tutu Atwell for 1 year and 10 rocks. And the idea that Tutu Atwell is back is just hilarious because I'm a Tutu Atwell fan, but I thought he was gone. Why would he want to come back here? He wasn't even getting snaps down the stretch. I'm figuring he's going to go someplace else, and he's going to be a consistent contributor to another team that wants him. And I didn't think even money would keep Atwell here. And 10 rocks for Tutu Atwell? Now, one season's okay, but 10 rocks for 1 year. 10 rocks is a lot of money for Tutu Atwell, and I'm a fan, but he just is not at that plateau. So this is an interesting one. You know, Atwell was the guy everyone liked to bash as a bust. Atwell is not a bust, right? Everyone reaches for the low-hanging fruit to bandwagon with the KBM. Oh, they should have taken Creed Humphrey. Yeah, maybe they should have taken Nick Bolton too. Was he taken a little high? Yeah, sure. Is that his fault? He joined a team in 2021 that was going to the Super Bowl, that had Cooper Kupp in his prime. This other guy we used to call Robert Woods, remember how great Robert Woods was? Van Jefferson was already on the roster, and Atwell got hurt. I think he played 10 offensive snaps, separated a shoulder. The next year, the 2022 offensive line chainsaw massacre year, the Rams had Stafford, John Wolford, Bryce Perkins, and later Baker Mayfield at quarterback. Really, until you got to Mayfield, what were you going to do, right? What were you going to do in terms of Atwell getting a chance? I think he caught, 21 passes that year, something like that. In 2023, he broke through and then came up, and then Kupp came back. His touches and everything diminished. 2024, he really didn't have that breakthrough moment, but each week he had a lot of moments with Stafford on those deep outs. 10 rocks guaranteed, like I said, is way too much. He could have gone someplace else for less play and more playing time, something at this point in his career he should be interested in. So, as I think I posted on Twitter and maybe a couple other places, this move is all on McVay. It's all of it. All of it is on McVay. You know, he says he wants the offense to be more dynamic, more explosive. Yeah, Atwell is that kind of player, but you've had him in-house now for 4 years, right? And you haven't found a way. It's not an issue with Atwell's hands, right? It's not that issue. That's not an issue. McVay has to know that, and so does Atwell. And that's why I think they had to give him 10 rocks guaranteed to convince him to stay. Otherwise, why would Atwell stay? And I'm sure they got a good relationship. Atwell's a model citizen. Very, very curious, though, what this means for the Rams, because we had all kissed Atwell goodbye. I mean, I was already projecting Xavier Smith maybe into his role. And so, yeah, you don't give a guy 10 rocks to give him 3 snaps a game the last month of the season. You just don't do that. So I'm very curious. You know, the Rams ran a lot of 12 personnel last year. in 2024. They ran a lot of 2 tight ends, which was kind of a nice wrinkle. I'm curious to see if McVay is looking to wrinkle back to more 11 personnel this year and open things up with this offense. And to see if Atwell, I got to believe now, he's part of that plan. So in-house, in terms of guys that have really played, obviously Nakua, you've got Jordan Whittington, you got Tutu Atwell, Tyler Johnson's still a free agent, Xavier Smith still in the house. He did get some offensive reps last year. So I have to believe another wide receiver is in the mix. And if they don't go wide receiver in free agency, everyone just think Devontae Adams, or high in the draft, what does that tell you? Well, the first thing it would tell me is if they don't go after a big name receiver and they don't draft someone high, then I'm guessing they got a lot of confidence in Jordan Whittington. And you need Atwell to be that burner still. It's a real interesting thing that's at play here. And you got to keep an eye on it. We just really have to keep an eye on it. But I think Atwell coming back, especially for 10 mil, just blows a lot of the models out of the water in this offseason. But still, Lyric Jackson back in the fold, Jonah Jackson gone, Stafford back in the fold. A lot of good things happening here. You know, everyone's still bummed about Cooper Kupp, but get over it. Harold Jackson got traded, right? I mean, this happens. Jack Snow got released. These things happen. This is what Isaac Bruce wore a 49er uniform. These things happen. We got rid of Jalen Ramsey. These things happen, and this is the NFL. So just be grateful that we got an organization now that makes some pretty brilliant calls. The waiving of Trey Tomlinson. Well, let me see. We got a couple questions piled up here. Let me get to those questions first. It's just Manny Correa saying hi. All right, Manny, thank you. Guys, if you have questions, load them up there. Sorry, I saw my board there, and we'll go from there. Ron Reese, there we go. Ron Reese, I thought I saw somebody. Ron Reese, thank you for clicking on. Tutu is back. That must make Travis Rogers happy, isn't it? Isn't it? Travis Rogers wasn't on Locked On Rams today. Yeah, I think I did hear that episode. He wasn't the People's Champion. Yeah, I had no problem with Rogers. He is the yin to Doug McCain's yang, you know. But yeah, he was anti-Atwell. Bill from Philly, thanks for clicking in, Bill. Let's look at this real quick. The waiving of THT, Tre'Davious Hodges Tomlinson, we'll just call him Trey Tomlinson, who subsequently was immediately signed off waivers by the 49ers. But that departure from the Rams, everything appears to be mutual. And so I imagine from Tomlinson's perspective, he didn't play a snap last year. He got hurt in the preseason. You got Kobe Durant, Darius Williams under contract. Les Snead wasn't hesitating at all in mentioning his desire to bring Ahkello Witherspoon back. Let's also not discount that the Rams, Josh Wallace, got playing time last year. Charles Woods made the active roster before being cut and put on the practice squad, and these are UDFAs. These are undrafted free agents. Darian Kendrick's going to return for his last year. And then, of course, the one thing that no one wants to talk about, it is almost taboo. I can't get anyone to talk about it. The presence of Emmanuel Forbes on this roster, right? And then there's the possibility of the team drafting another cornerback. Tomlinson, who had 45 snaps in his rookie year on defense, played in 5 games, saw the writing on the wall, and asked for his release. So it kind of makes sense. And I think if the Rams had projected him for anything, he wouldn't have been released. I think we would have seen other things take place. And so this is a no harm, no foul, and he's going to Frisco. And again, we talk about corners. I'm still amazed no one is talking about Emmanuel Forbes. And then the other one, I think when you really look at this room now and the possibility of drafting a corner, Kobe Durant, Darius Williams, both in the last years of their contracts, Ahkello Witherspoon likely being back. You figure Josh Wallace got playing time. Darian Kendrick's coming in. And then again, you add a draft pick in there. I don't think Darius Slay is factoring in this cornerback room. I know a lot of you guys were mentioning Darius Slay, 34, coming back for one more season playing with the Rams. So just stuff we're throwing out there. Cancel my thoughts on Bobby Wagner. He has re-signed with the Taxkins, 1 year, 9.5 rocks. I would have loved to have brought Bobby Wagner back for a year, but I didn't want to pay him 9.5 rocks. Taxkins are. Speaking of wide receivers, something to keep an eye on in terms of the draft. The Rams have officially interviewed Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden, Oregon wide receiver Tez Johnson, Ole Miss wide receiver Trey Harris, and Colorado State wide receiver Tony Horton. Just as you search around on the net, look for who the Rams have interviewed. Now, traditionally, the Rams usually play all their interviews close to vest. And so anytime you see something, it is pretty interesting there. So offensive line, as I like to go over for every show, I didn't think it was the news others were making it out to be, but Brian Allen officially retired. Fourth-round pick of the Rams out of, I think, Michigan State in 2018. We won a Super Bowl with him at center, right? That was great. He had a great 2021. But if you guys remember back to 2019, when all those injuries happened in 2019, he was extremely bad. In fact, he got hurt and missed all of 2020. And then Austin Blythe was still the center that year in 2020, did a fair job, and he moved on. And then Rams were experimenting with Austin Corbett. If you remember Austin Corbett, the right guard, he was going to take some snaps at center, but like Steve Avila, that didn't last too long, and they went back to Allen. And I can remember being on Rams, just Rams media at the time. Everyone was going, "Oh, woe is me," because Allen looked so bad in 2019, and on top of that, he didn't play in 2020. But he had the best year of his career in 2021. I think last I saw, PFF graded him in 2021 as something like 10th best center in the league. And of course, it's PFF. But he had a good year. I think he was a Pro Bowler or a Pro Bowl alternate. So he had a nice career. He hadn't played any serious snaps since 2022. Got a little bit of a cup of coffee. Lost his job to Coleman Shelton in 23 and then was out in the street. I think he had a little visit with the Browns, and then now he's officially retired. Good player. Brian Allen. Why is everyone talking about Brian Allen? I guess he wrote a pretty good retirement speech there that he posted on social media. So good for him. Good career. Hey, we should all play for 6 seasons and win a Super Bowl ring. There you go. USA expat. I have more hope for Forbes over Kendricks. Yeah, the problem with Kendricks is I kind of liked him, and he's learning on the job, right? But missing all of last year, man, that is just, I don't know. Yeah, again, my thing with Forbes is the Rams saw something in Forbes they liked. They signed him off waivers. They took on the rest of that first round contract, so he's making a little bit of money, and yet I don't hear anything. There's just no buzz about him. And so I'm curious. And I'm curious if where the Rams stand right now, 1 and 2 threes, if you don't see a corner drafted in that first 100 by the Rams, I'm guessing they think they might be able to revitalize this guy's career. And I'm also glad, I think the Jonah Jackson deal, I'm really glad that they got 14 rocks, because I think it eliminates any discussion about Darius Williams being a cap casualty. I thought that was foolish talk. I could still be wrong, but why would you put Darius Williams in the street? Yeah, he's making some decent dough, but he played pretty well last year. The only thing that I would think of, if you put Darius Williams in the street anytime soon, then that means you're thinking about Emmanuel Forbes. That's the only conclusion I can come to. Speaking of new season, cap and everything, remember the new season technically begins March the 12th, and tampering begins on Monday. So you're going to hear about deals starting on Monday. And within by the end of next week, Cooper Kupp's roster bonus of 7.5 rocks is due. So that thing's going to resolve itself real soon. Tim Powers, mixed feelings on Atwell. Love the deep threat. Cringe at his longevity for a season. But Mr. Powers, we haven't seen that. right? We still haven't seen that. Yeah, we had that 2021 year, but he has not gone down with an injury since 2021. He hasn't. And of course, we just haven't seen him play. I mean, snaps here and there. Cup was out beginning of 2023. And then they just kind of grooved him in a little bit this year, but not a whole lot. And I think he's been averaging 40 catches each of the last 2 years. I'm good with him, and it's only 1 year, right? It's a 1-year contract. And if again, I think the offense is going to wrinkle again, right? I still think they're going to run the ball, but I still think we might see 11 personnel. And again, how everything's kind of changing in the NFL, right? Everyone has gone to some form, one or the other, of the Fangio, high shell, 2 high safeties, and it's easier to run against those defenses. And now that the offenses have started running, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, there's been a lot of running backs with a lot of success. There's a lot of thought now that, okay, the league's going to adjust again and bring some of those guys down into the box, which therefore opens up the passing game. I mean, that's elementary. I'm not trying to fansplain anything to you. You guys know that. But it's interesting to see how it all kind of balances out there. Paul Richardson. Paul, thank you for being on. What's our weakest position that a first-round draft pick puts us over the top? To me, it's toilet clogger. That feels like the weakest position. I think obviously the wide receiver room needs an upgrade. I don't want to go to war with Whittington, Atwell, and Nakua, right? If a Matthew Golden or someone's there at 26, yeah, I say grab them, but we're still going to win. I want that toilet clogger, as was put to us a few months ago. I want that big fat dude in the middle. I want that Deion Walker guy from Kentucky. I want his type. I want a 6'6", 345 beast in there in the middle to give us some semblance, not a replication but just a little simulation of what Jalen Carter is, a little bit of what Vita Vea is, just a big run stuffer. Maybe someone that could give us what A'Shawn Robinson used to give us on occasion. A'Shawn Robinson was never consistent. He was great in the Super Bowl, but he was that big fat dude that you put there in the middle of the line. I think that's the thing I want the most. I think because we've got the edge, right? And we do have an inside pass rush with Fisk and Kobe Turner, the conductor. Now you just need that guy, right? And then keep Tank Davis there, have some rotational pieces. I like Bobby Brown. I don't know if Bobby Brown's going to be back, but that's the biggest hole to me, Paul. That's a good question. I think it's bigger than corner. I think we're set at safety. I think they are going to make some kind of move at wide receiver. They've got the dough free agency wise. They can probably do something. We like the running back room. We like the offensive line. We're just probably going to maybe add some depth. I keep saying KT Leviston. Keep an eye on him. The tight end room. If you went back to this year and you went in to 2025 with Davis Allen, Colby Parkinson, and Tyler Higbee, I think that's a solid tight end room. You could improve it, absolutely. But the most glaring need to me is that Curly Culp, that Vita Vea, that beast, that Larry Brooks, that guy I want in the middle to stuff the run. Let's see. Chris Childers, thanks for joining us, Chris. What free agent offensive tackle right now would help the Rams in free agency? Unless we hear something right now, I would go right tackle in the draft. Right now we got another year out of Havenstein. That's solid. Warren McClendon can hold that post down, and we're going to find out more, obviously, about Warren McClendon at right tackle. We don't want Warren McClendon at left tackle, but we know about him at right tackle. And so I don't know. I don't know who I want to pay for, right? And I've only looked at left tackles. I haven't gone back and looked at right tackles because, we were looking at Ronnie Jenkins, left tackle. We were looking at Cam Robinson, left tackle, if Alaric Jackson walked. And so right now, right now it's Havenstein, Warren McClendon. And I feel good about Warren McClendon backing up Havenstein a lot more than I do AJ Curry backing up Alaric Jackson. Rams, no doubt, I think will reach for a tackle in the draft. I just don't know when. Ron Reese. $10 million for 1 year for Tutu is way too much. Maybe a 5, but not 10. Yeah. So don't you think, Ron? Don't you think that there was a conversation there? Tutu says, you know what, I can go someplace else, man. And McVay and his scheming and his thinking says, no, I got to open up the offense more. And I've got an explosive guy. Why do I have to go find an explosive guy? I got an explosive guy. Man, Tez Johnson only ran a 4.5 40. I can't go grab him, but I got a burner here in Atwell. So, and I think to convince Atwell says, if I'm going to come and get jobbed again and get 5 snaps a game in December and January, then you're going to pay me for it. That's all I could think of. That is literally all I could think of, because 10 rocks is too much for Atwell. It is too much. It's 1 season though, and if it bombs, Rams are out of it next year. If it's a hit, then it's a hit, right? And stuff. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, should we sign Devontae Adams? Absolutely. If you can get Devontae Adams now, Devontae Adams got to wake up and smell the pizza. I mean, he's got to wake up. I mean, we're not going to give him 35 rocks. He shouldn't even be asking for 25 rocks. He wants to play for a champion. He's 32 years old. His biological clock is ticking. Unlike Myles Garrett, Devontae Adams, if he really wants a ring, he cannot afford to sit out a year and wait. And where's he going to go? DK Metcalf is on the market, right? Receivers come and go in this league. You don't need that super receiver to win a Super Bowl. You don't. He's a piece, right? And he needs to understand that. And again, if I'm Devontae Adams, I've got my Taco Bell money. I got my last contract money. Jets have paid me to leave. I'm a free agent. I can go where I want to go. That man, doesn't he want a ring? Doesn't he want a ring? He's a Hall of Fame talent that's going to have to wait till 2050 before he gets the call, because he doesn't have a ring. He just doesn't. It's going to take forever. How long has Torrey Holt been out? 16 years, 15 years? And Torrey Holt has a ring. I'm just saying, Devontae Adams should be begging to come to the Rams. Why he would consider Frisco, I have no idea. Arizona's something, but I got Matthew Stafford throwing to me or Kyler Murray. Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, right? I think we're a perfect fit for Devontae Adams. And he should come cheap. He should come for 15 rocks for 1 year. Something cheap, 2 for 30. I don't know. Something, but stop looking for that monster contract, because you got your dough. What you need is one of those rings. Let's see. Tim Powers would love a DT or a linebacker with a motor in mid-round. Take a reliable wide receiver early, acquire a veteran backup quarterback if Jimmy G leaves. Daniel Jones. Yeah, Daniel Jones is going to be interesting, right? I get the feeling one or the other, right? You got to figure they're not coming back with both Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold in Minnesota. I could see maybe where does Darnold want to go? Because Darnold needs Kevin O'Connell. Daniel Jones, I think there's going to be other people who think we can rescue this guy. We could rescue this guy. I'd be okay with Daniel Jones coming in, actually, under McVay. I think that's a good idea, Mr. Powers. I do want Jimmy G back. I never thought I would say those words, but I do want Jimmy G back. I've never been a Jimmy G fan, but I think for what you're asking as a backup and not a frontline starter, yeah. If somewhere along the way Stafford gets his bell rung, turns an ankle and is out for 2 weeks, I think Jimmy G's perfect for you. I really do. So yeah, I would go with that. Tim Burns, LeBron is such a stud, fronting on that Stephen A. I saw that. Yeah, I got a comment about basketball again because Coward stuck his foot in it again, and so. But let's get through this. Chris Childers, Geno Smith to the Raiders. I'm shocked. Did something happen? I was on the air and THT got released when I was on the air. Did something happen, Chris? Somebody tell me. Tim Burns, somebody give me the scoop here. Did Geno Smith get moved to the Raiders? That's really interesting, right? That's really interesting. I don't think Geno Smith is that good. I think he's a competent quarterback in stretches. Wow. What did the Raiders give up for Geno Smith? That's a good move for the Raiders as they're trying to rebuild. It kind of takes Seattle out of contention for this year. Who are they going to go? They're going to go with is it Harrell, Sam Harrell, the kid from North Carolina that played for the Skins? They're going to go with him next year. What are they going to do? Because Lockett's gone and DJ Metcalf wants to go. So my guess is they're going to be a run-heavy team and with a younger quarterback, and they still haven't really rebuilt that offensive line. That's really good news for the Rams. That's really good news for the Rams. Bad news for Aaron Rodgers. And that kind of soaks up Sam Darnold's market a little bit, right? That means that more likely he's going to go back to probably to Minnesota. Wow. For a third-round pick. Okay. Wow. You guys get breaking news. You guys broke the news. That's pretty cool. Geno Smith. So can we fairly move Seattle off the board along with Frisco right now and fully and properly declare that the Rams' number one rival in 2025 in the NFC West is going to be the Cardinals? I think so. Manny Correa, going back to the wide receiver talk. You know, Ty Felton, I know you're mentioning Ty Felton, Maryland. He seems to be dropping in some of the reports I'm seeing. Jack Besh is climbing. And unless the Rams trade back, I don't think you want him at 26, but unless the Rams trade back into the 30s and pick up another pick, I think he's going to be gone. Besh is not only a talented player that Mr. Burns broke down for us a few weeks ago, but he's got the good story, right? Well, it's a horrible story, but he's got people on his side in regards to the passing of his brother in that New Orleans terrorist attack. Forgive me for saying that's a good story. It's, you know what I mean? It touches the chords there. And all of his tangibles speak. He's already a Ram just because of what he does. He could be 2.0 Cooper Kupp. Jaden Higgins, he's kind of staying where he is, but Ty Felton has fallen. Let's see. Paul Richardson. The rumor is the Seahawks will now pursue Sam Darnold. I love it. That's awesome. I think that's great. I think that's fantastic. Does Sam Darnold scare you? We saw Sam Darnold twice last year. Last time the Rams saw Sam Darnold, they sacked him 9 times. Now, Christian Darrisaw wasn't playing for the Vikings, but we saw what the Rams did to the Seattle offensive line. We saw Jared Verse just absolutely abuse Charles Cross, their left tackle. They're not certain about Abe Lucas, their right tackle, and they've never figured out up the middle. And you remember what the Rams did to Sam Darnold, and now you're taking Tyler Lockett and possibly DK Metcalf out of the mix there in Seattle. Whoa, this is a great day for the Rams. A great day. Thank you, Paul Richardson. That is awesome sauce. That is fantastic. Okay, around the NFL and other places, the Chargers have put Joey Bosa in the street. I want nothing to do with him. Somebody should get him, and he should come at a cheap price. The Texans have released defensive tackle Jonathan Allen, former number 1 pick. He's been in the league 8 years. He's about 30. He's had some injuries lately. But if he would want to come to the Rams for a rotational level contract, think about this. Bobby Brown walks. Jonathan Allen says, I want to chase a ring, and I'm not asking for big money. I'm 30 years old, and I won't have to play every down. I can rotate. And then the Rams draft a beast in the middle. That'll preach, man. That'll work. That's good news. The 49ers are leaking that they are ready to move off Brandon Ayuk. This is another great thing for the Rams, right? We knew this last year. As football fans, you're saying you're foolish to sign Brandon Ayuk to a big fat contract. 49ers did it, and Ram fans rejoiced. Last offseason, he got 4 years, 120 rocks, 76 guaranteed. Now, he's a cap hit this year of 11. Next year, it's 16. But then in 26 and 27, it escalates to 42 and 44 rocks. And he's coming off a knee injury that took him out all of last year. And when he played last year, he really wasn't the dude, was he? I think is there something to say there that Ayuk was feasting off the ability that off the plane of Deebo Samuel when he was out there? Was he feasting off the the energy it took to kind of focus on George Kittle in the past. Not an Ayuk fan, and now the 49ers have to live with it. So the Raiders have signed Alex Kappa. They also re-signed their safety, Isaiah Palpoleo. They re-signed him, an in-house signing. Alex Kappa had been recently released by the Bengals, but of course, he was a starting guard for Tom Brady in their Super Bowl run, and he didn't have a great year last year, but they brought him in, obviously, the relationship with Brady and Spytech, and now he's got a quarterback to block for. Something to think about there. Number 3 here, in the bad look department, did you guys see this where the Browns owner, Haslam, didn't refuse to meet with Myles Garrett about his trade request? Haslam, of course, is the guy who gave Deshaun Watson that contract. So if I was talking to Myles Garrett, he just turned 29, right? He's already made 124.7 rocks. My advice to him, keep working out, put out a video, let everyone know you're working out, and enjoy the view of 2025. People are going to want you. People are going to want you on the flip side. I definitely believe that. That would, because I wouldn't want to go back and sweat for the Browns. I just would not. Would you want to? I wouldn't want to. Difference between the Browns and the Rams? Well, one, that would never happen. But we've seen with the Rams have taken hits on some of their deals just to accommodate some of their players that they've respected over the years. All right, other questions coming in. Chris Childers, Matthew Stafford, one great quarterback in the NFC West. Yeah. Empty hole there in Seattle. Brock Purdy is okay. He's got a ceiling. And Kyler Murray, I've said it for 3 years. He's a splash quarterback. He'll make a big play, but he's not a guy you can consistently depend on. So this is a really good day for the Rams in the NFC West. Manny Correa, my late round cornerback, Elijah Huzzy, North Carolina, Upton Stout, Western Kentucky, and Jabbar Muhammad in Oregon. All right, we'll keep an eye on those guys. I know you've given me Upton Stout before. I've seen Elijah Huzzy's name. I am not hip on Jabbar Muhammad. I am for drafting a corner, but I think it's less of a statement if you draft a corner outside of the top 100. You're just looking for depth pieces there. I mentioned Josh Wallace and Charles Woods. That doesn't mean those guys are long-term Rams. Also, the Rams someplace with 4 6th-round picks right now. Somewhere along the way, the Rams are going to draft a safety. They draft a safety every year. They always draft a safety. And that doesn't mean that McCullough is a lock to make this team, although it's pretty impressive last year for what they asked of him. Something to think about. All right, we talked about other places. I don't know if you caught it. I caught it a day late. I was cleaning my kitchen, and I just needed something to listen to, so I put on Podcast of the Herd, and I caught it right when Colin Cowherd was smooching current NBA players. I think someone's paid him off. I don't know recently because he's been on a roll about talking about NBA players, which I don't care. But he bagged on Magic Johnson and said Magic Johnson couldn't shoot and that he was awful defensively. Almost the way he said it was almost as if he was Kiki Vandeweghe, right? Or Luka Doncic sort of level of defender. Magic led the league in steals twice, and didn't shoot. He didn't have to shoot. You got Kareem. You got Worthy. You had Silk. You had Nixon. You had Scott. Cooper developed to do a pretty good three-point shooter. All it proves to me is that Cowherd's making these statements, and it just tells me he never saw Magic Johnson play. Lately it's as if Cowherd got an envelope with cash to preach that the 2024-25 gospel of the NBA. Personally, if I was an executive at Fox, I'd suspend him and say exactly why. You make that kind of bank, and you just can't be that stupid without a consequence. But I think it's more willful ignorance. I'm sorry. No one is going to come to me. And if you're talking about Magic Johnson, you better know what 42, 15, and 7 mean. Forget about Magic's politics. Forget about his personal life. Forget about all that stuff. Magic Johnson, you're going to talk about Magic Johnson, and you can't talk about 42, 15, and 7. Boom, you're out. You're done. You're gone. And then to come out and say he couldn't shoot and that he played awful defense, hit the road, Jack, right? Again, what do I come back and say? Just because they get paid, just because they're in the press box, just because they have the platform, doesn't mean they know what they're talking about, or it often means they're lazy. They're lazy. A lot of lazy sports writers out there. I know that firsthand. All right. Let's see here. Okay, we're good with questions. Let's keep on rolling. League tampering starts March 10th. League season starts March 12th. That's Wednesday. That's the new league season. League meetings are at the end of March, beginning of April. That's where you're going to find out what they're going to do with the kickoff rule, and they'll think of something for the 2-point conversion, and they'll think of something for the overtime rule because everyone's got to have it fair, right? Even though you have 4 quarters to do something, they're going to create something. You want to create something, review the hits to the head, review the hits on the quarterbacks, and minimize those things. Stop just handing them out like candy. And honestly, change the pass interference rule. Unless it's super egregious and a guy's dragged down from behind, make it like the college rule, 15 yards and a first down, right? And that way you won't have great playoff game decided because some ref threw a flag and decided the outcome because it put another team in field goal range, right? Can they do that and regain my respect? There we go. Maybe do something with the kickoff thing. Have them kick off from the 15. There we go. NFL draft, April 24th through the 26th in Green Bay. I'm going to be enjoying it Thursday night. I am on a working retreat on the 25th and 26th, so I'll be a little late getting to the air talking about the Rams draft picks on those days. All right. I'm Joe Terosian, a sports writer for 20 years. Still am. I am contributing again at Mid-Valley Sports, and I'm not calling the shots there, but I'm kind of contributing to Peterson and Barker, the guys who do call the shots. And we're posting a lot of material. Our RamView gets posted there. We do post Ram notes there. Mr. Burns is posting stuff on some baseball stuff. I got Autumn Winds being posted about the Raiders, Chargers, bolt action. So we're getting a lot of stuff up there, and you can check us out. I didn't write a column this week. Actually, I'm still sitting on my column, and it's called Fan View, and that's found at Mid-Valley Sports. But thank you for your support. Thank you for our sponsors, Kiss Sir Law, and you guys buying my books. They're on Amazon. I appreciate you guys checking those books out because it helps me keep going, because my day job is I pastor a small church in Burbank Faith Nazarene, and it's right here on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual, burbankfaithvirtual.com, and Burbank Faith Virtual across social media. We don't have a PayPal account. I'm sorry, we don't have a paywall. We don't have a Patreon. We depend on you guys and your support. So thank you so much for your support. All right, let's see here. Manny just keeps throwing names at me. O'Donnell Fortune, South Carolina. Okay. Paul Richardson, the 10-yard penalty for holding drives me nuts. If they were just consistent about it, right? Man, do you remember? Does anyone remember when holding penalty, offensive holding, used to be 15 yards? Do you remember that? Anyone? I mean, that was pretty brutal. And such. Let's see here. Michael Negretti, Magic Johnson, baby skyhook to help the Lakers beat the Celtics for an NBA champion. He's got the guts to take the shot LeBron never does. Okay? And I'm sick of hearing about Steph Curry. I think Joe Dumars might have a say on what Steph Curry would do in that NBA. It's a different league. You can't touch these guys. Does that mean Steph Curry can't shoot? It does not mean Steph Curry can't shoot. It does not mean LeBron James is not a great basketball player, but they had the snot beat out of them, and they would have played against teams that actually play defense in those days. And their athleticism is amazing, but the athleticism back then was pretty good too. Skill level is a little bit better now in terms of ball handling and everything. But then again, in those days, they didn't carry the ball over as much as they do now, right? Have you seen them carry the ball? It's like 3 steps with your hand like this, and then you dribble, right? Anyway, I digress. Chris Childers, overtime rules should be changed. They're always tinkering with them. I just hate when they make the argument the team that gets the ball first always scores and wins. And, the Saints in the NFC Championship game in 2018 or January of 2019, Saints got the ball first. They didn't win. Thank you, Dante Fowler. Thank you, JJ. Thank you, Greg Zerline. Tim Powers, Rams defensive pressure elevated towards end of season. Ride that wave into the beginning of 2025. Yeah, you remember how everyone was calling for Chris Shula's head? Remember? And I think we were right here. There's so many missed tackles early, but they tightened that stuff up, man. They did. You didn't see Braden Fisk and Jared Verse missing those tackles. You still saw Byron Young a few times trying to lay a hit instead of wrapping up. And I think that was the one that was specifically, if you look at Jalen McCullough's touchdown, his interception against the Packers, if you look at that, that's when Byron Young had a clean shot at Jordan Love in the end zone, and he went at him with his shoulder instead of wrapping him up. Now, that worked out because Love threw the pick six, but there was these things where the Rams were making those mistakes. Back half of the season, Mr. Powers, you're absolutely right. They tightened up that defense. They really did, and that's why they need that run clogger. It'd be interesting to see what they do at linebacker. I like Spates, but I'd like to see, I liked what Roseboom did, but are you going to get another year like that out of Roseboom? I mean, Roseboom was better than Troy Reeder. I think Troy Reeder's days are done. Evan Hotz, regarding Magic Johnson, among his teammates, his nickname was Bull, and he was their leader on the court. Oh, there was nothing like Magic, and he was fearless. LeBron's not fearless. LeBron is not fearless. LeBron will defer, and Magic was a killer. He absolutely was a killer. And again, I can't abide anybody out there talking about him and first not seeing him play, not being able to know what 42, 15, and 7 is, and then saying, oh, he was just a horrible defender. It's like, what? Do you even know what you're talking about? Thank you, Evan Hotz. Manny Correa, I take Deion Walker, Kentucky at 26. Yeah, I wouldn't take him at 26. If I traded out of the first round and Deion Walker was there in the third round, starting at number 65 going back, I'd probably take Deion Walker, but I think you can make a deal there, get more value, but I wouldn't take him at 26. Tim Powers, Bull or Buck, Evan? Yeah, I know what you mean, Mr. Powers. I thought it was Buck too. I'm not going to argue that, but yeah, I thought it was Buck too. Manny Correa, have to keep building defense like Philly and the Ravens do. Well, the Ravens defense wasn't fantastic last year. Philly's is good, but now, don't you think they overpaid Zach Bond, the linebacker? They're giving him $51 million over 3 years. You got to be smart on how you're doing things. And yeah, they got the title this year. No question there. But Rams have gone heavy the last couple of drafts with defense. And I think they're going to pivot offense. Doesn't mean they're not going to make a move. I definitely do think we want that toilet clogger, right? Maybe, Manny, if you and I just keep dreaming, we'll get Deion Walker. Let's see here. Manny Correa, get Evan Ingram. A lot of mileage, costs a little bit of money. I like Evan Ingram. I do, but tight end's a hard position to play for Sean McVay. We've heard that over and over again, and people struggle. And so veteran coming in, new old dog learning new tricks. Maybe at the end of August, if there's an emergency. Okay. Manny Correa, Logan Brown, Kansas right tackle draft. Okay, I've heard that one. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, the Rams should trade down with the Colts for the 45th pick in the second round and pick up a third rounder. Tim Burns, I hope they trade back to the second and get a wide receiver or dart. I have no problem. I'm curious if in the third round, let's just say, I don't think it's going to happen because I think this is some of the talk here where a lot of people think Shedeur Sanders is going to fall back to 26 or even to 10 or 12 or even out of the first round. These teams, especially the first three teams, was it the Titans, the Browns, and the Giants, they need a quarterback. And you got to take the swing. I mean, you just have to. You got to take the swing. If he hits, if you feel like, man, we need a quarterback, we can work with this guy, you got to take a swing. The one thing I am seeing is that I'm seeing more of a trend where Cam Ward is going to be the number one guy. And so I think that's wise. Abdul Carter kind of, he's got a little bit of the foot issue, but I'm surprised when they project teams like the Browns or somebody else or Giants taking him. Those teams need quarterbacks. And honestly, It's Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and Jackson Dart has catapulted up. I'm curious though, if Jackson Dart was actually still there at 90, would the Rams pull the trigger on him? You know, because something's wrong if he's still there at 90. So he's going to have a Bo Callahan thing going on there. You know, there's some kind of, you didn't read the playbook, right? Something's going on there. Let's see. Tim Burns, Sanders doesn't get past the Raiders at number 6. I agree. I agree. Michael Duggar, Rams should trade with the Raiders for tight end Michael Mayer. Who do we get rid of? Mike? Do we, you know, we got Tyler Higbee coming back, so we're putting Colby Parkinson in the street. I don't know, you know. I don't know. Is Michael Mayer the guy that the Rams want? I'd want someone a little more in that playmaking ability at tight end. Someone, if we're talking about the offense being dynamic, I want somebody that could make plays. Manny Correa, Tez is smaller than Tutu. Yeah, I think they measured him at 5'10", and he came in at 5'8". And I thought they got him at 170, but he just had that horrible 40 time. I don't think that 40 time is legit. Something happened there. Something's wrong. But Tez took a tumble in terms of his draft stock, right? He took a big tumble. All right, just for fun, I did a mock draft. I went on PFF, and I traded back. I wanted to see what I can get away with. I sent the Chiefs the Rams' 26th overall pick, and instead of getting their number 1 pick at 31, I took their second round pick at 63, their third round pick at 66, and at 95. So that gave the Rams 10 picks in the first round. So the first pick wasn't until number 63. And Tim Burns is going to have a heart attack here. At number 63, thinking the Rams want to be a little more dynamic and do creative things, I took a versatile guy, and I drafted Cam Scatabo at number 63. Then I drafted Omar Norman Lott, a defensive tackle, run stuffer out of, I think, Oklahoma State, at defensive tackle at 66. I took wide receiver Jalen Royals out of Utah State at 90. I was able to get Gunnar Helm at 95 out of Texas, tight end. I was able to get Dorian Strong at number 100, cornerback, Virginia Tech. The Rams have interviewed him. I was able to get number 127, Jack Kaiser, linebacker, Notre Dame. I got the Louisville quarterback at number 191, Tyler Show. How do you pronounce that? Shug. Someone tell me how that's pronounced. I took him at 191 for the project. At 198, I didn't get Deion Walker. Deion Walker went at 99, Manny Correa. So I took Dorian Strong. At 198, I took Zeke Biggers, defensive tackle, Georgia Tech, 6'6", 320. Keep an eye on him. For my obligatory safety pick that the Rams always do, I took Akili Arnold out of USC, who I've seen interest. I've heard people project him to the Rams. And then the other one I took a shot at was Miles Frazier, guard, LSU, 6'5", 325. So there you go. Yeah, I'm sure Mr. Burns is really thrilled I went with Cam Scatabo. All right. Let's look at this. Pro days. Names that have been mentioned in and around the Rams. The pro days, March 11th is Kentucky's. That's Tuesday. That's that cornerback Maxwell Harrison and defensive tackle Deion Walker. March 18th is Oregon and that Josh Connerly, tight end Terrence Ferguson, a Manny Correa special, and then a wide receiver Tez Johnson, and quarterback Dylan Gabriel, a Steve Ramirez, loyal RamView follower, Steve Ramirez favorite. March 19th is Alabama's Jalen Milroe, not projected to the Rams. At Michigan on March 21st, you do get Colston Loveland, the tight end, in his workout, along with Mason Graham, cornerback Will Johnson. All three of those guys could be first rounders. Even Kenneth Grant, their defensive lineman, could be a first rounder. And of course, running back Donovan Evans. Florida State, who the Rams have had an affection for these last few years. We've seen projections and mock drafts for the Rams looking at Florida State guys. Their cornerback, Azare Thomas, and their defensive lineman, Joshua Farmer, they do their pro days on March 21st. If so does Missouri with Armand Membu, who has been projected to the Rams, as well as Luther Burden, someone else, as a wide receiver, they're having their pro days on March 21st. Okay, I looked at another mock draft that came out yesterday, and I thought for a second there, I thought, okay, this is a little different. Yahoo Sports put their mock draft out. At number 1, they had Cam Ward. Okay, that makes sense. At number 2, going to the Titans. At number 2, they had the Browns taking Abdul Carter, injured foot. I don't know. Okay. Number 3, they had the Giants taking Travis Hunter. Again, you got Shador on the board and you don't take him. So then the Raiders, in this mock draft, they projected the Raiders trading up from 6 to 4 with the Patriots and taking Shador Sanders at number 4. And then the Patriots at number 6 taking to Tyro McMillan, the wide receiver out of New England. And that makes a ton of sense. To get a receiver like that for Drake May is a brilliant move. The Jets at 7 are projected to take Armand Membu. Tyler Warren was actually projected to go to the Seahawks at number 18. This is one I wanted to throw out there. Is at number 11, I've seen this in multiple mock drafts. Mike Green, edge out of Marshall. That's a trend going to the 49ers. The Broncos drafting Ashton Genty, number 20. And then this is another one, and I think they're just going off Steeler history, but this is a bad move by the Steelers. At number 21, drafting Jahdae Barron, cornerback out of Texas. He's a good corner. They could use a corner, but I think they need something on offense more, don't they? Steelers just doubling down on yesterday. Number 22, Colston Loveland, Michigan, going to the Chargers. We've seen that. Second time in this week, I've seen the Texans taking Emeka Egbuka, the wide receiver out of Ohio State at 25. And then Omarion Hampton going to the Texans at number 29, sneaking back into the first round, that running back that I've kind of projected the Rams every once in a while. But here's what Yahoo did, and I thought, is it lazy or what are they thinking? Rams drafting at 26. Who would you think the Rams would go after? They need a receiver, Matt Golden. What would they do? What would they do? Trade out? No, they project the Rams taking Josh Connerly. You know, Rob Havenstein, you're going to draft a number 1 pick at number 26, a guy that's not going to play this year. I just don't get it. I thought that was really, really weird mock draft. I thought initially it had potential, and then it kind of fell apart there. All right. Let's see. Rams should trade back with Jacksonville or New England. I'm for moving back. Tim Burns, Higbee has something on McVay to be here again. You know, he came back strong. I've buried Tyler Higbee several times. And as I'm burying him, they gave him a 2-year extension. I do think this is the end of his run. And that projects that, could the Rams draft a tight end? There are some tight ends in this draft that could be available. Could they draft a tight end, put Colby Parkinson in the street? Higbee plays 1 more year, plays 11 games because he gets hurt again, and then you got your guy for the future. I don't know. That's something to think about. Michael Negretti, no linebacker, Pastor Joe. Yeah, Jack Kaiser, Notre Dame at 127. That's what I predicted or mocked. Manny Correa, late-round linebacker, Justin Barron, Syracuse. Bam Martin Scott, South Carolina. Check out Joe Diglio, Southern Connecticut, UDFA. Ooh, so UDFAs. That's really going to be really big on Saturday when the draft ends. That's a good call. Tim Burns, my sleeper in the Mountain West, wide receiver, San Jose State, Nick Nash, 104 catches, 1,382 yards, 16 touchdowns. He's going to get missed in the draft. All right. Let's see. Manny Correa, Tim, nice, Nick Nash. Okay. Padres, Joe, check out Padre Joe, Pastor Joe. Check out the Draft Tech mock draft. I will. I'll take a look at it. Rob Sorge, Steeler fan Rob, defensive line or wide receiver in the first round for us. What do you want? Do you want a wide receiver? You need a wide receiver, but then you need a quarterback. Are you going to re-sign Justin Fields? I think you're going to be Justin Fields back. That's what you want, right? Steeler fan Rob. Manny Correa, my late round defensive tackle, Aeneas Pebbles, Virginia Tech, Ricky Barber, UCF, and CJ West, Indiana. All right, guys, I am putting my email in this text box, especially you, Manny. You throw so many names out there, I don't get a chance to go over them. But if you guys have a mock draft, shoot them to me. And some of these names, Manny, shoot them to me, and I'll try to do my homework on all of them. Jeffrey Bassa, linebacker, Oregon, also. Okay, so there's my email. Dano is really good about sending me his mock draft stuff. I got good contact with Tim Burns, but Manny Correa, Manuel, you got stuff, some of you others, feel free to email me so I can do some homework on this. All right, Ram free agents that are still to be decided. Jimmy G, Michael Hoyt, Christian Roseboom, John Johnson, Hunter Long, Akilla Witherspoon, Bobby Brown, Neville Gallimore, Demarcus Robinson. Tutu is off the board. Joe Noteboom, Troy Reader, Ronnie Rivers. I think we could probably kiss DeMarcus goodbye until maybe late in the summer till they find out what his sentencing is. I think Hunter Long is going to be gone. But you know what? We all kind of said, we all were in agreement on Atwell being gone. And then Bobby Brown, right? Big question mark next to Bobby Brown. We'll see how the Rams draft. And we're also going to see starting Monday, what is the interest being gauged by someone like Bobby Brown, who's not a stiff, who is a quality NFL player. What's his market going to be, right? And then John Johnson. Does John Johnson want to come back and be the graybeard in the room at the age of 29 or 28? That one's going to be interesting. And I think we're pretty sure about Joe Noteboom out the door. Let's see. Michael Negretti, Jimmy G. I'm good with Jimmy G. Steeler fan Rob. No quarterback in the first round in this draft, maybe second. Why don't you go after? Would you go after Aaron Rodgers, Steeler fan Rob? Would you take Aaron Rodgers? That one would be interesting. Okay, cool. So we got this stuff in at 56 minutes, man. I never think the show's going to go long, and then it goes long.
It was a stone group, my man.
All right, let's get through this day in Rams history. On this date in Rams history, March 6th, the Rams signed Leroy Glover. Remember Leroy Glover? He was a fifth-round pick of the Raiders and ended up in New Orleans and then Dallas. He went to 6 Pro Bowls. He was all-pro, 83 sacks. He had 17 in 2000. He only registered 12 with the Rams. Rams got him at the end of the line. But Leroy Glover had a good career. Too bad the Rams didn't get enough of it. And then on this day in 2013, Steven Jackson declined his option for 2013, became a free agent after 8 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons for the Rams, and he signed with the Atlanta Falcons. That was a dark day. Poor Steven Jackson, right? Steven Jackson, that guy deserved so much more, right? I love Steven Jackson, right? Could you imagine Steven Jackson in this offense? It would be illegal, right? It would be illegal. Born on this day in 1928, Ram receiver Bob Boyd. As we throw out receiver names of the past, Tom Fears, Elroy Hirsch, Bob Boyd, Loyola Marymount, played 7 seasons for the Rams, caught 176 passes, averaged 20 yards a catch, and scored 28 touchdowns. He was 6'2", 201. Of course, he was on the title team and those title contending teams throughout the 50s. One of the fastest men in the NFL at that time. I think he caught passes. No, I think Klosterman came in after him from Loyola Marymount when they still played football there. His biggest year was 1954. He caught 53 passes for 1,200 yards, 22.9 a catch, 6 touchdowns. If he was alive, he'd have turned 97 today. Just remembering Bob Boyd. Kent Hill, former Ram #1 pick. Kent Hill turns, 43? He turns 68 today. Kent Hill, Rams got his best years, and he went in the Jim Everett deal in 86, and that was about it for him. Flipper Anderson turns 60 today. Happy birthday to Flipper Anderson. Ricky Prohl turns 57, and Farrell Cooper turns 30. A lot of Ram receivers. Bob Boyd, Flipper Anderson, Ricky Prohl, Farrell Cooper. All of these guys had a mark someplace they left with the Rams, all of them having birthdays today. Tomorrow, March 8th, 1994, Rams signed free agent quarterback Chris Miller. Miller played 2 seasons with the Rams, 1 here, 1 in St. Louis, played 26 games, starting 23, 34 touchdowns, 29 interceptions. He was sacked 59 times, sacked 209 times in his career, and he kind of became the poster boy for concussions with 6. And then he retired before coming back for a brief stint with Denver in 99, and I think he got another concussion. 2018, on March 9th, the Rams signed former Packer defensive back Sam Shields. Rams got great clicks out of him. 2019, on March 9th, the Rams released Mark Barron, which was one of Les Snead's early deals that was really good. He was I think he was a first-round pick to play safety with Tampa. He washed out as a safety, came to the Rams, moved to linebacker. Rams got a lot of clicks out of Mark Barron. The day that they released Mark Barron, they signed Eric Weddle in 2019 for a 1-year, 12-rock contract. Felt like it was a bust, but the relationship was built, and he came back 2 years later to play safety for us in the Super Bowl. March 9th, Sunday, it's an important one to remember. In 1977, Rams and Eagles, because there really was no free agency, Rams and Eagles traded the rights of Ron Jaworski and Charlie Young. Rams sent Ron Jaworski to Philly. Philly sent former All-Pro tight end Charlie Young, our catching tight end, who really seemed like it was a great deal for the Rams, and he never beat out Terry Nelson, or they just couldn't find any spots for him between Chuck Knox and Ray Malavasi. Young played 3 years for the Rams, picked up a ring in 81 with the 49ers. And Ron Jaworski obviously went on to a great career in Philly, went to the Super Bowl in 80, but that was a big one. And then let's see, March 9th, 2016, Janoris Jenkins became a free agent. Jackrabbit Jenkins, he hung around for a while. 2017, on March the 9th, big day for Rams. They released Eugene Sims, Lance Kendricks, Tim Barnes, center, Brian Quick, and Benny Cunningham and TJ McDonald became free agents. Bye-bye, Brian Quick. TJ, one of those safety casualties. And yeah. And then that same day, the Rams traded William Hayes, who believed in mermaids, I think, to the Dolphins for a 7th-round pick. Born this Sunday on March 9th is Dennis Hara. Dennis Hara turns, 72 on Sunday. Herc had a great career with the Rams. And then dying on March the 9th in 2005 was Glenn Davis. I think he was Mr. Outside to Doc Blanchard's Mr. Inside. Went to Bonita High School out here in Laverne, had a good career. And then Billy Wade, not Waddy, Billy Wade, the quarterback who played with the Rams in the late 50s, got traded, asked for a trade, went to the Bears, and in 63 won a title with the Bears. Frank Ryan was with the Rams. He got traded to the Browns. He won a title with the Browns. And also, oh, by the way, Van Procklin wanted a trade. We traded him to the Eagles, and in 1960, he got a title with the Eagles. Ron Jaworski wanted out of L.A. He went to a Super Bowl in 1980 with the Eagles. And then on top of that, we got rid of Kurt Warner, and he ended up going to a Super Bowl and was a perfect Ben Roethlisberger to Santonio Holmes pass away from winning another Super Bowl. So anyway, you get traded from the Rams as a quarterback, you got a good shot of going to a championship game and winning it. So there you go. All right, I think we got it out. We went over an hour today. My bad. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to go that long. A lot of stuff to talk about. Let's see. Steeler fan Rob is not interested in Aaron Rodgers. Manny Correa, Kind Madrano, UCLA, late round linebacker would be nice. Tim Burns, we got a lot out of Jackson. We got a lot out of our Jackson redone knee. Steven Jackson, you're talking about. Yes, absolutely. Manny Correa, I would take Jihadi Campbell or Nick Emanawari at number 26. That's about where those guys are going in a lot of the mocks there, Manny. JD Durham, congrats on Stafford signing. Yes, we are all happy about that, JD. Tim Burns, don't think I forgot. Did you take Fluffy on the Frontieri boat ride? We need proof of life. My dog is alive. No, I wouldn't let my dog in the RamCave to ruin a RamCave moment with you guys. All right, I am going to dinner with my wife. I'm making her spend some money on me in Pasadena. But thanks, guys, for hanging out. Check us out from the RamCave. Check out some of Mr. Burns' work on Mid-Valley Sports, some of my work on Mid-Valley Sports, and keep buying the books. God bless, guys. Thanks for hanging with me. Share this with your friends. I want to build my base.